As some of y'all may know, around March last year, I broke my leg pretty badly, and I never made an update telling you guys how I've been doing and how far I've come since then. I've just been kind of living my life and doing my best to go back to normal, and here it is. So if you want to know how I've been doing for the past year and about a month, keep watching. So as you guys may have known already from my previous video, I had broken my tibia and my fibula, and I was incapacitated for months, for about 7 months, and I had to first get into surgery and get pins in my leg, external fixation. That disabled me from walking, so I had to be on a wheelchair for a while, and that really sucked because I never really knew what it felt like to be in a wheelchair. You never think about like those things like, oh, is this place wheelchair accessible? Is this place going to have ramps? Is this place going to allow me to get through it? You really start thinking about those sort of things, and I even now when I go to public restrooms, I purposely don't use the wheelchair bathroom because I know that there's somebody else that might actually need it, because I know I needed it when I wanted to go do normal human things. And I'm beyond grateful that it's over, and I feel completely full of compassion and love for people who have to deal with that every day for the rest of their lives, because it's not easy. So after the wheelchair, I actually started using the crutches. I actually had to use those crutches for a long time, and I just still tried to get stuff done. I had some modeling events I had to go to, I got invited to, which felt really weird, having a bunch of metal sticking out of my leg and giant pieces of gauze wrapped around my leg and crutches, and still wearing a bikini. It felt super weird, people looking at me like, why is this girl out here? Like, but I still wanted to do the things that I love to do, and I didn't want that to stop me. So I went and did these events, and even though I had to get quite a bit of help from beautiful souls who didn't even think for a second to not help me, they always were so helpful. I'm so grateful for every single one of the people who always were really helpful for me. But I still wanted to do everything I wanted to do, and I did some shoots, some photo shoots that really required a lot of attention to detail when it came to not catching my leg in the video. At the same time, I'm glad that we got some pictures even though I was in that situation, because I feel like if I would have perceived myself in a situation years earlier, I would have never seen myself doing things at all. I thought I would have just been bedridden for months and months and months. But that's just not me. Like, I have to do things. I can't be stuck in one place for too long. So I went to photo shoots, I went to the park, I went to the movies, I went to museum. I did a bunch of stuff while either wheelchair, crutches, or, you know, basically hopping around. So when I finally got my metal removed from my leg, which was a very scary situation because the doctors are basically saying, do you prefer to have the external fixation that is a temporary thing removed from your leg and then just seeing how your bone is gonna, you know, recuperate? Or do you want to have a permanent piece of metal in you that'll hold just in case your body doesn't heal itself properly? And in my mind, I was thinking I would prefer not to have metal on my leg for the rest of my life, because I didn't want, for one, I travel, and I also just don't want to have to deal with that, and I don't want to have a piece of metal. Like, and I think I said that on my last video, but anyway, so I ended up taking the chance of just getting rid of my external fixation and seeing how my bone was progressing. And it was a very scary thought because I didn't know whether or not my body was going to completely heal itself or fast enough. So after the metal was taken out, I actually had to wear a boot. So the boot had pieces that inside the boot that would hold my leg in place as steady as it possibly could, and I had to just be careful with that. So when I would go out, I just still had to keep my leg above heart. Like if I went out to a restaurant, I had to still put my leg up on a bench or something like that. So I still had to take a lot of precautions when it came to the boot, because the boot wasn't a sure stability. It was just there for you to not bump into stuff and for a little bit more hold. So I just took a chance with my body, and I was eating as healthy as I could. I was obviously not working out, but I still was, you know, trying to be as healthy as I could. And I know that I heal pretty fast when it comes to many things. Like I have many piercings, I've never gotten infected. I heal really well when I, you know, hurt myself, accidentally cut myself when I'm bartending, things like that. I'm just a fast healer. My immune system has always been great. I don't get sick that often. So I just took a chance with my body, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna do my best and I'm gonna heal. So I go and get a few x-rays after I get my metal taken out, and that's after the bone still, when you look at the x-ray, there was still a line coming down the middle of of the tibia and the fibula, but they said that it was starting to get together a little more, like the little fibers, so they thought that it was a good time to remove it. So when I did remove it, it was definitely something that I had to be careful with. So I got a bunch of x-rays done and I compared them, and I'm going to show them to you, and they were incredibly different from when I first broke my leg. My bones started to calcify much more quickly than I expected it to. So let me just tell you all, so I've always been kind of ballsy and courageous when it comes to the way that I am and my personality. I've always been like that. And the first month when I got my metal taken out of my leg and I was just wearing a boot, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna do everything I didn't do. You know, I went out to this event that had a concert and they had a drum circle. Somebody handed me a drum and I went ape shit. Like, I started drumming the whole night. I was having the time of my life with my boot on, and I was like, finally I can actually enjoy like having a night out. About a month went by after I got my boot out, after I had gone through physical therapy for about 4 weeks. Physical therapy basically consisted of pedaling on the stationary bike and some stretches with the resistance band that I would have to pull, and the nurse would help me. She would massage my leg and the scar tissue that formed around where the metal used to be, and it consisted of some like basically simple exercises to regain the strength back in that leg. And the muscle mass had reduced significantly, so you could really tell the difference between my affected leg and my not affected leg. Like, prior to my break, I had been working out a lot and I had a lot of muscle, but I lost that so much because, I mean, if you don't use it, you lose it, you know? So I was so upset that my leg had become so skinny, so I had to regain that. But physical therapy was pretty simple, and I felt like I just was, once I did it for 4 weeks, I kind of got the gist of it. I didn't really need them because they let me take home the resistance bands and could just do it on my own, and I just stopped going. And I even brought them a little gift after I left the physical therapy. I brought them something and a note like thanking them for everything. They had been so sweet. And after I was done with that process, I was so happy to finally be free. And even though I still had to be extremely careful with my leg and I couldn't go back to heavy lifting or anything like that yet, I felt happy to be free. Going back to the rebellious thing, the reason why I say that is because my friend invited me to go rock climbing that month that I got my boot off, and I was like, why not? I'm down. I want to do it. Of course, I didn't go to the super complex ones, that's what I'm saying. But I was like, all right, let's do it. And psychologically, when you go through a break like that, your body's telling you, like, don't do it. But I kind of wanted to face my fears in doing it. And of course, I was being extremely careful with everything. But I have this friend who was just like, all right, let's do it. You're going to be careful, but don't let your mind telling you not to just stop you, because that's how fear stops you. So I was like, fuck it, let's do it. And so I went to the easiest path that they had at the rock climbing gym. And I was very careful in the first few steps, in the first, few climbs. And eventually I did fine, and I got to the top many times. And even though my heart was still racing really hard because I was rock climbing a month after removing my boots, I still did it, and I felt absolutely accomplished for doing so. So that's one rebellious thing I did after I broke my leg. The second rebellious thing I did after breaking my leg, after partially healing from breaking my leg, was doing pageants. I got invited to do so many pageants whenever I had still been incapacitated, and I was so upset that I couldn't attend any of them because I couldn't walk, so obviously. And when I finally was able to walk at least normally without limping, because I did limp for a little bit there because I had to kind of regain my balance. When I was finally walking as normally as I could, I got invited to do a pageant, and I was like, all right, I think I'm ready. And I did it. Usually when I do pageants, I wear very tall heels, and for this one, it was my first pageant I did after breaking my leg. I wore like really small little like wedge looking heels, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, I don't care. And I remember seeing photos of that day, and my leg was so skinny, and I was like, I didn't like it, but somehow I still made it to top. And I was like, oh my gosh, so grateful that I did it, and I was able to still, walk the stage and do what I like to do. So here I'm going to show you guys some videos of me doing some workouts now after a year of breaking my tibia and my fibula, and how I'm back to working out. And although now I'm actually using a free bar, even though the videos that you see there, you're going to see me using the assisted bar, the Smith machine. The day that I filmed, it was actually being used, all of the free bars, so I didn't get to show you guys. But I'm actually back to my previous weight that I used before I broke my leg. So I'm completely proud of myself that I'm back at that weight. I think I'm almost a full 100% back. One thing I did want to say is I do still feel a little bit of pressure on my leg if it gets cloudy out. I didn't think that was ever a real thing. Whenever I hear people who had broken their legs say that, and saying like, oh, when it's cloudy you're gonna feel it, when it's rainy you're gonna feel it, I was like, that's only if you have metal in your leg. That's not gonna happen to me because I don't have metal on my leg anymore. Nope. Apparently it's because when it's cold or when it's humid in the air, your muscles contract, and if you have any type of scar tissue that's holding your bones, your muscle pushes that scar tissue and you feel that pressure. So I definitely feel that sometimes, but I wouldn't call it even pain because it isn't painful, but it just feels kind of uncomfortable. But I think that's something I'm gonna have to deal with for the rest of my life. I just have to be okay with, but I'm beyond grateful that I have healed so well. So to end this video with a happy note, I wanted to show you guys 3 things that I think would be really interesting to show y'all. Yeah, here we go. So the first thing I wanted to show y'all is a really funny picture of me breaking my first bone when I was I would say about 11. So my wrist was my first bone that I broke, and I was actually roller skating and I fell and I hit my wrist trying to protect my face and it broke my wrist. And here's a funny picture to show y'all when I had a cast, a nice little lovely cast. Oh, another thing I wanted to show y'all was the cute freaking drawings that my amazing friends drew on my leg cast. And I think it's so cute. It felt like Toy Story as much as I do, like, oh my god. That made me feel better looking down at my leg cast that I had those drawings. I drew up the mushrooms and the flower and I think a few other things, but my friends basically drew the rest of the stuff. So freaking cute. And throughout my whole break, I had some incredible friends come over and bring me snacks and presents and cards, get well soon, everything, who supported me when I couldn't support myself, literally. The second thing I want to show y'all is the x-ray comparisons from when I first broke my leg to during the breakage of my leg to after the breakage of my leg. I don't have a current picture. I should probably get x-rayed. I'm sure the line that you guys see on the last x-ray is far less visible now, but it's still an amazing difference. The last thing I wanted to show y'all is something, I don't know, to me it's something that is a memory that I'm gonna hold on to because it's so exciting to have. I cannot believe I got to keep that. Okay, so give me a second. So the day that I broke my leg, I was wearing these super ultra cool leggings that I had never worn before, and the first day I wore them, I broke my leg and I had to go to get my x-rays, and they cut the leggings open like you see in movies. And guess what I have to show y'all right now? Oh, these are the leggings they cut when they were doing the freaking x-rays and checking to see how my leg was the day that I broke it. Rebellish, pedaling on like the, oh my god, I can't speak. I've always been kind of ballsy, and physical therapy basically consisted of pedaling on the, oh my god. Okay. No, wait. So let me just tell y'all, so I actually